Hello everyone, good evening all of you, and welcome to this unique and innovative program wherein we are talking about a lot of tools that we can use as chartered accountants. Today I have with me the learned faculty with us, Mohammad Muzzammil. Also, I have with me the chairman of WRC, CA Manish Gadia. Before we can proceed ahead, I would request Chairman Manish Bhai to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Arpit. Good evening to all and welcome to this technology series. And this year we have decided that at least once in a month we will have some workshop on technology. And today we are starting with workshop on data science toolkit, which is very important for all of us. And for that today we have with us Mr. Mohammed, who is going to take us today introduction to Python for data science tool visualization in Python. Why we are doing this? Because this year our theme is bold. What is the meaning of bold? B stand for break the change. Technology is the new innovation, I can say. 1 year before, on 22nd of March 2020, if I would have talk about that having meeting on virtual mode or on go to webinar, so all of you must have laughed at me. But now, today is a common feature. So we have to adapt the change. And according to me, the thing which is only constant in this world is the change. So we cannot, हम इसको चेंज को भूल नहीं सकते हैं, हमको इसको अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा. Once you adopt the change, the next thing is to organize yourself, your infrastructure, your technology, your skill set, everything need to be organized. And third is learn. Learning is equally important for us. And that's what WIS is doing every time, every day. With an innovative program, innovative series, innovative workshop, we are giving you learning. And after that, the best part is to deliver the best quality thing to your client. That is what they expected from all the chartered accountant. Apart from that, as a social measure, as a CSR activity, WIRC had tied up with various hospitals where a chartered accountant and their family members can go and have a vaccination for COVID at the priority basis. The priority does not mean that you will get free of cost, or if you are below 60 years and without any disease, you will get that. You have to follow the government rule. But instead of wasting your 1.5 hour or 2 hour of in the queue at the hospital, that you can do it on a faster mode. So these are the some of the initiative what we have already taken. So thank you very much. Over to you, Arpit.
Thank you, Manish Bhai. Indeed, as mentioned, we have to be bold this year once we come back from the lockdown. And to start off with the series on technology, we call it as a Tech Edge series, a series that will give all of us an edge. And today, the faculty whom we have here with us, I think, comes with a very strong experience of what we are going to talk and discuss about. Muzzammil trains and consults organization individuals on Python. Python, all of you must know, is one of the fantastic data analytics tools that we have. And believe me, if as a chartered accountant, if we start and if we use Python in a very effective manner, we can really make a huge difference and can create an edge for ourselves in this market. He has experience in helping students organize in various domains like life science, finance, etc., and solving the business problems using Python and machine learning. He's been working as a junior data scientist for the Scholars Delhi. He has also worked for a company like Cognitor, Washington DC, USA, and Data Science Pro, helping in creating products and solving technical problems. He has a bachelor's in computer science, certified data scientist, and hacker rank certified Python programmer, one of the most prestigious programmers. Training experience has trained employees, and some of the organizations which have been benefited are the Scholars, Cognitor, SQL Evangelist, etc. He's done his B from Anjuman Engineering, Nagpur. May I all request you to please join your hands and welcome Mohammed. Although if he will not be able to hear our claps, but I think at least he will know that he's welcomed here. And Mohammed, request you to please talk to us about what this Python in real sense can be like an actual snake and take in all the data and give us beautiful results. So over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Chairman Manish and CA Arpit Gabra for the kind introduction. So I'm very delighted to be here, first of all, and let's talk about Python. So Mr. Chairman Manish told us about that we have to be bold and to be the have an edge on technology. So if we talked about technology, what comes to our mind? It the computer. You can say computer comes to our mind, or some data related stuff, artificial intelligence that is being in a boom now. So these are the tools that enables us to achieve what we have today. For example, we have artificial intelligence which is driving the car now. So we in a year, from 2 or 3 years, we will have a fully autonomous driving cars. Uh, as of now, as of 2021, Tesla is a company which provides autonomous driving cars, but it's a control because of some legal prohibitions. You have to be in the car and you have to be on the driving seat and holds the steering, but the car drives itself. In 2021, for 4 years from now, you can see that we will have some autonomous driving car which will drive by itself. So we have to be ready for that future. And which of the things which enables us to do these things, these are programming languages like Python. This is the main tool. Because like what's let's start with some introduction on Python. What is Python? You have till now you have heard about some snakes. It's the name of a snake, but the most trending language in 2021 is Python. So let's talk. I'll share my screen and then we'll talk about some introduction to Python. Uh, so
मोहम्मद सर,
yes,
सर आपके आजू बाजू में कोई ऐसा लोखन या कुछ ठक ठक करके आवाज आ रहा है, उसको थोड़ा देखिए नहीं बस।
okay. So yeah.
और स्लाइड में करिए सर इसको।
Now it's fine, or is it coming still?
Yeah,
Because like some
अभी
construction work is going on. It's fine.
okay sir।
Okay. So I have shared my screen. So let's talk and start some introduction about Python.
स्लाइड से ओपन करिए ना सर
So
इसको।
okay.
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Okay. So so we'll talk about some brief history about Python, and then we'll go and talk about where Python is used, why it is so famous as well. So Python is a widely used general purpose programming language, high level programming language. Now, what does high level programming language means? We'll talk about this technical jargons in a minute, but it was initially designed by Guido von Rossum. He is the founder, inventor and father of Python, and it was mainly developed for emphasis on code readability, and it allows programmer to express themselves to the computer in a very fewer lines of code. So let's take this one by one. So what is high level programming language, first of all? So as you might heard of like some programming languages. Programming languages, just in a simpler terms, we can say programming languages that we are giving some commands to the computer, and the computer is executing that on behalf of us. So for example, we will say, hey Python, add 1 plus a plus b and show me the result. So then Python will go on and add the A and B and show us the result. So we are giving some commands to the computer, and the computer is understanding that. So like for high level programming languages are the language, for example, Python is an high level programming language. Now what does high level programming language means? So high level programming language is understandable, is a language which is understandable by the user, and it is also readable, and user can code in high level programming language. Machine understands machine level language, which is a binary language. You can think of it zeros and ones. It's all full of zeros and ones. So a human cannot understand what zeros and ones, a sequence of zeros and ones is. Only machine can understand that. So we have a high level programming language which in which a user is coding, for example, a human is coding, and then a machine understand machine level language. In order for us to give some command to the machine, we have we have to have an interpreter in between, so that we'll code in high level language and then machine will understand that. So we have an interpreter that is in between which translate that for us. So for example, we so write some code in high level language, and then the interpreter translates that to machine level language, which is zeros and ones, and then the machine understands what the machine have to do. Okay, so this was about some high level what does high level programming language mean. So all of the language that are available, C, C++, Java is some examples of these language, and also Python is an example of high level language. So this is what a brief history of Python is. So let's talk about where we can use some Python. Okay, so we can use Python in some desktop applications. Now, what are desktop applications? So a desktop application, for example, is a calculator, an application where internet is not required. So for example, you have used calculators on your system. So to program the calculator to so that you can use that. So the programming behind that calculator is being done in Python or any other programming language, but Python is like really famous. So the calculator which you are using on your desktop is being programmed in Python. Also, this GoToWebinar app that you're using, I don't know if you're using this app or you are connected to the web version, but if any of the case, web application also. So if this GoToWebinar app itself is being coded in Python, then you can understand. So anything that you have to make an application or anything you have to work on system, then you have to know, you have to have the knowledge of programming language, and that's why we are here to understand the Python, to understand Python. Okay, so web application, Django and Flask are some of the most popular frameworks that you can use to design web application, and also the Python is a tool to code in Django or Flask framework. You can take an example of web application as you must have given some quiz online, or you must have given some paper which are MCQ based. Okay, so you have a question and then you have 4 choices, then you click on one and then next, and then at the last it shows you the result. So this web application is also being coded in Python. Code means programmed in Python, so that the web application itself understands that okay, there will be MCQs, and then the programmer will put on some question on the web application, put on 4 examples to you, and then you press on one option, and then you click next. So at the back end, what happens is the programmer has coded something. For example, question A has answers and A, B, C, D, and the correct option is B. So the correct option, if you have chosen the correct option, you are given marks, and if not, then you are not given the marks. So this is what a web application. That is where the Python is used. Some database related application, networking relating application. So networking related application you can think of. For example, you send an image on WhatsApp. For example, you send an image to your friend on WhatsApp. So what the backend process is, you have uploaded the image to the server, to the WhatsApp server, and WhatsApp server is a database which contains all the information. Then then your friend access that server and downloads that image from the server. So you have not directly sent the image to your friend on your friend's mobile. You have uploaded it on WhatsApp server, and then in turn the your friend has downloaded it from the WhatsApp server. And all this process, all this uploading, downloading, saving that file on the server is being done in Python as well. So, and games, you might have played some games. So games have been also coded in Python. And the most important part that we are here, like data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, this is the most booming field of 2021. And all these things you need to know Python. The Python is a must to go forward, to have to do some machine learnings or to make some artificial intelligence applications. So you need to know Python in order to work on these domains. So like Python is a must. So who are using Python? Like if we talked about Python, so Python is being used by any company you name around the world: Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, SpaceX. Every company you see is a technology-based or consumer electronic or something related to technology. These companies are using Python as well. Okay, so this was a really small introduction on Python. Okay, so we talked about some brief history and some introduction to Python, where Python is used in order for you to in order to have for your interest in Python, so that you have some interest in coding language as well. So okay, so first of all, let me show you one thing. Okay, so we have talked about some trend, but let's talk about Google Trends. We'll compare the Python with other programming languages. So, for example, we'll take a programming language which is Java. We'll see. So this is a website where you can see what thing is trending now, or in past, let's say from 2004 to present. We'll see. You can see the interest over time. It was really low in 2004, and then it slowly gradually increased, and now it has been a humongous spike in the interest, and the Python is really famous now. Now why Python is really famous? Because we have earlier we didn't have so much processing powers, we didn't have so much data, so we cannot do data science and machine learning and stuff that much. That's why Python was not that famous, not that quite famous at that time. But as soon as the our processing power increased, our data capacity increased, then you can see that there is a huge spike in the trend in Python. The people were using Python much because of these three fields: machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence. Okay, let's compare it with Java. Java is also a programming language, but you cannot do data science and related stuff in Java, because like there are two different domains. You can see at around 2004, Java was really famous, but slowly and gradually it decreased, and then Python captured Java or overcame the popularity of Java. Okay, so this where the Python is really trending now. Also, I have sent you the link to install this Anaconda ID, which we'll be using to code. But if you have some problem, we'll see how you can install Anaconda ID. So I have sent you this link, and if you'll press on download, it will take you to Anaconda installers, and then it will ask you that you want to download a 64-bit version or a 32-bit version. If you're unaware of what your operating system is, then you can go ahead and in settings, uh, you're able to see what I'm seeing. Okay, so yeah, in settings you can go ahead, and in systems and in about, like your phone's about, it's the same as your phone's about. It will show you your operating system, what architecture is your operating system is using, and here you can see that my operating system is 64-bit operating system. So I'll go ahead and download the 64-bit graphical installer. So if in your system it's 32-bit operating system, then you can go ahead and download the 32-bit installer, and then after installing, it's simple. You just have to click next, 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 and finish. And after installing, you can open from search bar. You can type Jupyter, Jupy, Jupyter, and then here it will come Jupyter Notebook, and then you will press enter. It will open. First of all, this black screen will come, and then it will automatically take you to the Google Chrome, that Google Chrome tab, which we are in right now. Okay, so you can so this is your dashboard. You can come here at new. You can see new, and then notebook and Python 3. Will you be using Python 3? And you can come here, and yeah, so this is your dashboard now. Here we will be coding all of our Python related codes from now. So you don't have to worry about what taking notes, or you don't have to type with me. For example, you might be thinking that I'll miss some of the codes that I'm typing. No, you don't have to be worried about. I'll share this file which I'm working on. I'll share this instance, and then you can just go ahead and open this from your system as well. For example, you have downloaded the file, and then you can search for the name Python for data science workshop, and then you can feel click on this, and it will be open on your screen. So you don't have to worry about the missing related stuff. You will not miss anything. Okay, so we have talked about Anaconda, and we talked about how to install Anaconda as well. Okay, now we'll go ahead and uh, talk about Python. So talked about this. So yeah, so these are the versions of Python. In 1994, the first version was introduced, and now the current version is 3.8.2. So we'll be using the latest version, which is 3.8.2. And yeah, so these are the versions. So up till now, 2.0 support has been dropped. So you cannot use 2.0 to make applications. You have to use above 2.0, which is 3 and 3.8.2, but we'll be using 3.8.2, which is the latest version. Okay. So up till now, what we have covered is we have some brief introduction, and then how to install this Anaconda IDE. And yeah, so we talked about some versions of Python. Okay, let's start with the Python itself. Now we are moving on to the coding part. So like I told you, we have to code in order for the computer or the machine to understand what the machine have to do. So there are different stuffs that we need to learn about first, then we'll be able to code in it. For example, there is the first thing which we have to understand is Python identifiers. Now, what is an identifier? By the name itself, you can think that it will identify something. So a Python identifier is a name used to identify something which is a variable, class, modules, etc. We'll talk about all this stuff, but let's take it one by one. We'll talk about variable first. So what is a variable? Variable is basically an identifier which will identify something. For example, this is the value 10. Now, how will identify this value in our Python? In our basically in our programming language, we'll assign it to X. Means now what it simply means is this name X is being assigned to the value 10. Now, if I want to call the value 10, I'll call X. You can simply understand it by you have a name, I have a name. For example, my name is Muzzammil. So if someone wants to call me, they'll call my name, hey Muzzammil. Then I'll understand, okay, the person is calling me. If he's my friend and if he'll call me in a gathering like, hey my friend, will I be able to understand if he's calling me or some other person? No, right? He said hey my friend, so he can have multiple friends. So we need something that can uniquely identify me. So I need something that can uniquely identify me. So for example, there is my name Muzzammil. If he'll say hey Muzzammil, then only I'll be able to understand, okay, the person is calling me. Likewise, the same goes here as well. I want to identify this value 10. Now we'll be using values as well, but I want to identify this value 10. So I have assigned a name, an identifier to this value 10, which is X, for example. Now it's X. And then if I want to call this value 10, I'll use the name X, and then the value will be called. Okay. So yeah, first thing first. So how you can run something in Python? It's very simple. For example, you are in this cell. These are different cells that you have. Now, if you want to run something, for example, I want to assign this value to the variable 10. So now I have coded it, but I need to run it as well. So first you have to code, then you have to run. Running means you are telling Python, okay, I have coded this much. Run this much means convert this to machine level language and tell machine to do this thing. Yeah, so how to run this? You will hold shift and then press enter. Again, you will hold shift and then press enter. So it will run. As you can see, this number is changing. It means it's running. Hold shift and press enter, and then now the number is 3. So don't have to focus on number, but I showed you that it's running. Okay. Now the running means it will not show you anything, because what we have done is we have just assigned this value 10 to the variable x. So it will not it has just assigned but have not done anything. So it will not show you something, but yeah, internally the value 10 is assigned to our variable, which is 10. Okay. So every languages have some rules, which we in English language we have grammars. So if I want to say how are you doing, I'll say how are you doing, because it's structurally it's a structure. The my sentence is correctly structured, and it's according to grammar. So if I'll say you how are you doing, then you'll understand that I'm asking something to you. But if I say are you doing how, then you'll not understand what I'm saying to you. So that's why we have some rules in place in our English language as well. We have some rules that we have to structure our sentences according to that rule. Likewise, we have some rules in Python as well. So we have to structure our code according to these rules. Now we have different rules for different things. We'll go one by one. Okay, for identifier, we have some rules. What the rules are? The rules are simple. An identifier should always start with an alphabet or an underscore. Now, what is an alphabet? A to Z. You can use A to Z, English letter alphabets, to identify so you can use the name of to basically start the identifier name A, B, C. So you can do this. It should always start with an characters or alphabets, or it should always start with underscore. These are the two rules. Else, this 1, 2, 3, you cannot start a name of the identifier with some numbers. It will throw an error. It will not understand. Basically, throwing an error means the Python will not understand what are you trying to say to me. Yeah, so that's a term that we'll use. Error means the Python is not understanding what we are saying to Python. So then Python will ask us, what do you mean to say? I didn't understand, please. And then it will show you that this is like the rules, you did go with the rules. That's why I'm not understanding it. We'll see about errors as well. But yeah, so first we have just two rules, which is the a name of the identifier should always start with an alphabet or underscores. It cannot start with integers or our numbers. How can we define identifier? Here are some examples. For example, I have 100 rupees. Now I want to store that 100 rupees in my machine. So my name of the identifier will be money equal to 100, and it will work. So I have pressed shift, I have hold shift and enter, means I'm running this thing, and it has internally assigned this 100 to my variable money. Okay. And some other rules is like you can I told you that you can start the name with underscore as well. So let's see. And yeah, so this thing run successfully. It means that it has assigned the money 100 to my variable name underscore money. But let's see if we'll do 1, 2, 3 money. I told you that this is not the rule. You are violating the rule. You cannot start the name of the identifier with some numbers. So if I started by the name of my identifier with some numbers. So let's see if this works or not. You can see the Python said us something. The Python tell that syntax error, invalid syntax. Basically, it means that you have done something which is violating the rule. Kindly check the rule and don't violate this rule. Or else I'll not understand what you want to convey to me. That's what the Python is saying in simpler terms. So the rule is you should not start your name of the identifier with some number. So we'll go ahead and use only alphabets or underscores. Yeah, in between, after the alphabets, the number can come. For example, money 1, 2, 3. In between the name of the variable, the numbers can come as well, and it will not throw an error. As you can see, it executed successfully. So in between, the numbers can come, but not at the start. It always have to start with the alphabet or underscore. Okay. So these were some rules of defining identifiers, and there is no limit. You can have identifier with as much length as you want. For example, ABC, writing something, and then I'm storing 100 onto it. And if I'll run this, yeah, so this thing executed successfully. But obviously, this is not the best practice because let's take an example. If my name is ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP and up to Z, so if someone wants to call me, he'll say, "Hey, ABCDEF," then he'll not call me, or he'll give me a nickname and then he'll call me. So it's all obviously same goes here. You should not assign a very big name to the identifier because you want to use that identifier as well. Okay, so we talked about the length of the identifier. It can be infinite or it can be as much as long as you want, but it's not the best practice to do so. Okay, so we talked about identifiers, and now we'll talk about some keywords. So there's Azan in the background. That's why. So it will take just 2 minutes. I think we can stop for 2 minutes and then we'll start. Okay, so now we can start ahead. We can go ahead with keywords. So we talked about identifiers. What are identifiers? What does identifier do? It identifies something. And then we talked about some rules for defining that identifier. And we talked about how to define identifier. So we discussed about identifier. Let's go ahead and discuss a bit about keywords. Now, there are like 33 keywords in Python. Keywords, we can think of keywords as something which have with some meaning or functionality. For example, there is a keyword called true, or else there is a keyword called if. So this if has some meaning or functionality behind it, which is already predefined by Python. For example, if I type if, then the Python will know that he is giving me some command with the keyword if. We'll talk about keyword because there's a like 33 list of keywords. We'll talk about them one by one as and when we'll go ahead in the session. But right now you have to just keep in mind that there are like 33 keywords in Python, and then you don't have to you should not use keyword as a name of an identifier. It will throw an error. You have to you have to like skip ignore the name of keywords for variable names or identifier names, and the rest of this 33 words, except this 33 words, you can use any word as you want as the name of identifier, but you cannot use these 33 words. We'll talk about these 33 words in a bit. As and well, we'll go ahead, we'll talk about them one by one. But for now, you just have to remember what are keywords. It has some intended meaning, and you cannot use it in place of identifier name. Okay. So what are data types? So in our real world as well, we have data. A data which whenever I say data, I am referring to some information. A data is the meaning of data is or the definition of data is just some information about something. For example, my name is Muzzammil. My height is, let's say, 167 centimeter, and my weight is, let's say, 70 kilo. So this is some data about me, some information about me, my name, my height, my weight. So this is like some information about me. That is what we refer to as data, as the term data in our day-to-day in the data science domain, or in the data science field, will we refer to these things as our data. So in our real world, we have five kinds of data available with us, which is that the first thing is a whole number. We have a whole number. For example, my height is 167. So 167 is a whole number, and my weight is 70 kg. So 70 is a value which is an integer or is a whole number. So we'll talk. So likewise, we have some data types in Python as well. In order for us to save this data or play around with this data, we have data types to basically play with all kinds of data that we have in our real world. So we'll see data types one by one. The first data type we have is integer. Now, what is integer? Integer is just a whole number, positive or negative, but without any decimals. It should not have any decimals. It can be of unlimited length, positive or negative. It should be a whole number, and without any decimals, we refer to that as an integer. For example, here we have 10 equal to sorry, a equal to 10. Now what this 10 is, 10 is a value which is an integer, and a, like we talked above, like we discussed above, a is a identifier which is identifying this value 10. For example, likewise, b is a identifier which is identifying the value 30. Now these values 30 and 10 is an integer. Int is like abbreviation of integer. If we'll see type is a function which we'll talk about, but if we'll run this and if we'll see type of a, what it will show, int is an abbreviation of integer. The Python, we are telling, basically here we are telling Python, show me the type of a, and then the Python is giving returning us, okay, the type of a is an integer. So a is an integer. Basically this value is integer, so a is an integer because a is referring to this value. Okay, so this is what an integer is. Likewise, we have a data type float. Now what are floats? For example, let's take petrol prices. We have petrol prices, for example, 89.56. Now this decimal, something with a decimal place and something with floating values, is known as a float data type. Also they represent real numbers and are written with a decimal point. So anything which is written with a decimal point is a floating number, and then we can store it in an identifier. What I'm doing here is I'm creating an identifier petrol, and I'm storing the value of petrol in this identifier. And if I'll run this type of petrol, which I'm basically telling Python, show me the type of petrol, and then if I'll run, okay, so then if I'll run this, it's telling me that it's float, means it's a floating data type. Okay, so we talked about two data type, int and float. And so basically these two data types in general are numbers. Now let's talk about string. A string is a sequence of characters. You can think of it as a sequence of character, or as a word in English language. My name Muzzammil is a string or a word. So word refers, we refer word as string in Python. So anything which is a word, we'll call it as a string, or it is a string in Python. Okay. So this is a string. How we can define now the main important part, how we can assign this character or a word or a string to some identifier. So the process is a bit different than the integer, because in integer we can directly write the number, but in string it is not the case. We have to define this quotes. So let's take name, which is a name of identifier, and is equals to, which is I'm assigning some value to this identifier, and then I'll press this quote, single quote, and you can see I'm pressing just one quote, and the closing quote is automatically coming in. That is because of the IDE. The IDE is basically thinking, okay, so he pressed the opening quote, then I should also give him the closing quote, because he'll close this quote at some time. So when you'll press a single quote, then the closing quote will automatically come. Then in this quote I have to write my name. My name is Muzzammil. So I'm writing my name here in this quote. So and if I'll enter, it will work. Now the Python has assigned this value, which is my name, to this variable Muzzammil, to this variable name. Basically this is an identifier. Identifier and variable are basically the same thing. So this is the name which I'm assigning my name to this variable, or the identifier name. And if I'll see the type of sorry, if I'll see the type of name, what is the I'm basically telling Python, okay, show me the type, what kind of variable or this identifier name is. If I'll enter, it'll show me string, str. String is the full form, and Python is showing me the abbreviation, which is str here, which is showing me the str, the abbreviation of the data type string. Okay. So we talked about how to declare string. For example, if you want to declare, let's say you want to declare a string s equals to, you want to assign a name to it, then you have to use these quotes, opening and closing quotes, and then you'll type Python or any name, any character you want. You can also type a as well, simple a, b as well, c up to d, or any character you want, you can do that, and it will press enter. Then the Python is assigning this value, which is Python, to the variable s. Okay, so a string is a sequence of characters. Now, there are some manipulations that we can do with string as well. For example, this is my variable s. Now, the s contains the whole Python, Python, the whole character, sorry, the whole word, the s variable contain. Now, I'm interested in the first letter. I want to ignore this part, Ython, the last part. I want to ignore, and I'm only interested in the first character. I want to see the first character of the string. Now, how we can do that? We can do this only with strings, and other data types we'll talk about other data types where we can basically slice the value, but we cannot do this with integer or float, because these are like full numbers. We cannot slice these things. We can slice string. Now I'm interested only the first part, which is p. If I want to say, show me the first character, I'll say s, which is my identifier name, s. So you have to keep in mind, you have to use your identifier, and then I'll type this square bracket. The square bracket, I'm pressing the opening square bracket button, and the Anaconda IDE is automatically giving me the closing square bracket. So if I have to type square brackets, and I'll say, okay, I want the first character, then I'll press 0 for the first character. So you might be thinking this is a bit odd, because we type 1 for the first character, not 0. So the indexation in any programming language or in your computer always start with 0. If you want to say, okay, give me the first, for example, there are like 9, 10 buckets in front of you. If you want to tell Python, pick up the first bucket, you will not tell Python, pick up the first bucket, because the Python will not understand the first. If you want the first bucket, and you will say, okay, pick up the 0th bucket. Because the indexation starts with 0, so you have to say pick up the 0th bucket, and then Python will pick up the first bucket for you. Okay, so I'll say, so we talked about indexation start with 0, so you have to keep in mind, if you want the first character, I'll say give me s of 0, means s the first character. S of 0 means give me the first character. And if I'll enter, as you can see, the Python gave me p, which is the first character in the word Python. So the Python gave me p. Okay. So now if I want the first 4 characters, what I'll do? I'm interested in the first 4 character, which is p, y, t, h, 1, 2, 3, 4, p, y, t, h. I want this thing, and I want to ignore this on. So what I'll do is, this process is the same. I'll type my variable name, which is s, and then I'll press opening and closing bracket, and then I'll press 0 for the first character till 4 characters. So I want first 4 characters, so 0 for the first character, and then I'll press this colon. So this colon signifies that you are assigning a range. I want the range, so I want the range, for example, first to 4. So this colon signifies the range, and then I'll press 4 for first 4 characters, and then I'll press shift and enter, and then the Python will give me the first 4 character, which is pyth. Okay, so here we have pyth for the first 4 characters, and yeah, so here the Python is giving me the correct answer, which is pyth. Likewise, if you want the first 3 characters, you will just say 0 colon 3 in place of 4, because you want first 3 characters, and then you'll press shift and enter, and then it will give you pyt. Okay, now for the first 2 characters, the process is the same. You'll press 0 to do, means for the first 2 characters, and then we'll press shift and enter for the word py. Okay, so this is what we talked about, how to slice some values in Python. We have a word, now we want to slice it. We are interested in some part of the word, we want to ignore the rest of the part. So for that, we are slicing these values. Okay, so we talked about how to slice things in Python. And yeah, so this was the string data type. Now there is one more data type left, which is Boolean. Now what is Boolean is? Boolean just have two values, which is true or false. Either it will store the word true, or either it will store the word false. Nothing else than these two words. So you cannot store um, a number or a string or a word in Boolean data type, but because then it will not be a Boolean data type. So you don't have to specify explicitly that I'm storing, for example, this s is a string variable. I have not written anything to explicitly specify to Python that this is a string, this is a integer, this is a float. No, you don't have to do these things. You just have to assign values, and then Python will automatically understand that you are referring to this. For example, if you press 10 instead in place of value, then Python will understand, okay, this is an integer. If you press Python, then Python will understand that, okay, this is a string. So you don't have to explicitly define something, you just have to type the value, and Python will understand what kind of data type it is. Okay, then so the next data type is Boolean, which has just two values, which is true or false. So if I'll press T, so T should be capital. You have to keep in mind T, the capital is T, then RUE is small. And if I'll press Shift and Enter, then I'll check the type of bool1. So this is my identifier name bool1, and I have assigned this value true to this name, to this variable. And if I'll press the type of bool1, then it is giving me bool, bool. So bool is an abbreviation for the data type Boolean. So okay, This will contain only two values, true or false. For example, if I assign 12 in place of true, and if I'll enter now, if I'll check the type of bool1, it will not be boolean anymore. It is int. So Python understand, okay, you changed it to integer. So the boolean will contain only two data types, which is true and false. Why we are using this, you will understand as and when we'll move ahead in the session, we'll understand why we are using these data types. Okay, so till now we talked about identifier, keywords, not a brief introduction about keyword, and then we talked about integers data types, which are integers, float, string, and boolean. Okay, so these were the four data types in Python. Now the next thing is a list. For example, okay, we talked about how to store a single value. We store the price of a petrol in a variable name. We store my name in a variable name. Let's say, for example, we have 60 students in a class, and I want to store the marks of these 60 students. No, so the marks of these 60 students will be 60. Means the 60 there will be 60 values with me. So can I go ahead and use 60 variables, 60 identifier for each and in each value? For example, for student A, I'm identifying with the variable A, and I'm storing some value. For B, I'm storing some value. For C, likewise to up till 60. So this will be bit and this will obviously it is not a smart thing to do, obviously, and it will be a bit mechanical. So what is the solution here? So the Python gives us the solution, which Python says, okay, you can store all these values in a data type which is list. Now, what is a list? List is a collection data type which will store multiple values at once. So you can think list of a list as an example of a grocery list. When you go ahead, when you go outside to buy some groceries, then what you'll do is you'll make a list. You'll write salt, pepper, sugar, and likewise all of the grocery items that you want in a list. So that's in simpler terms what we are referring here as well, the list to store multiple values. Now a list can store multiple values. Let's take an example of a list. For example, I want to make a grocery list. So I'll write grocery list. So this grocery list is the name of an identifier, like we discussed above. We are storing multiple values in this name, in this identifier. We're identifying multiple values with the name grocery list. Then we'll say the square brackets, we'll type the square brackets, and then we'll go ahead and write our values, which is let's say the first thing is salt, and then comma. So you have to separate it by comma, the values by a comma. Then we'll say sugar, and then we'll say multiple values. You can have, okay, so the most important thing in a grocery is dhania. You don't forget that, because every time I forget that to bring dhania. And then you can have, also you can store values as well. For example, let's take the value 21 comma 22 comma 78 comma any value you want. Also you can store multiple values, means you can store the floating data type here as well, here in the list as well, which is, let's take the floating data type as 12.8 comma 15.7, sorry 25.7. Okay, no, doesn't matter. So now what I have done is I have defined a square bracket, and in this square bracket I have stored multiple values. As you can see, these are the multiple values. And then if I'll shift then if I'll hold shift and press enter, means I'm running this thing. This thing executed successfully. Now let's see uh, the what our grocery list contains. So grocery, if I want to see what are the values in my list, or what are the values in my this identifier, then I'll hold shift and enter, and then you can see the Python gave me all the values that is stored in this list. For example, you go to a grocery store and then you'll tell Python, okay, show me my list. So you'll type grocery list, and then you have salt, sugar, dhania, and all these values that we stored in this thing, in this list. So this list is a collection data type, like we talked, and then okay, so so this is how you can store multiple values in a list. Now let's go ahead and see how you can manipulate or do some manipulation with this data that we have. And in this data list one, for example, this is my list one, which is having all these values 21, 34, my name, true for the Boolean data type, 10.1 for the floating data type, and I'm storing this all these values in my identifier called list one. Now let's see how you can manipulate this data. We saw how to access. You just type the name of the list and then press enter, and then it will give you all the values. Now how to first of all insert some more item. For example, you forgot something and then you want to insert it, the some more item. So what you can do is list have some commands. For example, list one, which is my identifier name. Here is the list one. So I'm telling okay list one, and then I'll press a dot. So you can see I press a dot, and then after the dot you'll write your command. To see the list of command what you can do with the list, you will press tab, which is on your left side, the button tab, which is on your left side. So you will press tab. For example, let's see again. I pressed a dot and then I pressed tab, and you can see there is a list of command available with me. These are the list of commands that I can do with the list. So let's take append, for example. Append means I'm appending, so I want to insert more data to the list. So I'll use append keyword. I'll use append command, and then I'll say okay, add 10 to my list. I want to I forgot something. I want to add the value 10 to the list. So I'll say list one dot append 10 10, and then I'll shift and enter, and you can see this thing executed. Now if I'll see the list again, for example list one, and I'll shift and press enter, you can see the 10 value is appended here. So it's added, so Python added 10 value for me in my already defined list. Let's say I want to add 78, and I'll shift enter, and then I'll press list one, sorry, I'll shift enter the list, I'll see the list again. Then we can see this Python added 78 for me to the already defined list. So that is how you can add some values to the list. So there are multiple commands that you can do with the list. We'll not see all of the commands because there are plenty. So we'll see some of the commands, and then you can understand how you have to use these commands. For example, let's take this count. I want to count how many 21s are there in my list. For example, I can count manually now. It is 1, 2, and yeah. So I have two 21s in my list. I can say now I have manually counted. Now I want to say, I want to tell Python, okay, count uh, how many 21 values are there in my list. So I'll say list one, which is the name of my identifier, then dot, and then tab, and then I'll say count, which is the command. I'll do a round bracket here. So this is the rule. You have to press a round bracket here, and then I'll say 21. What I have to count actually. So I want to count 21. Then I'll shift and enter. The Python will give me 2. Let's take another example, which is 34. I want to count how many 34s are there in my list. So I'll press 34 here, and then I'll hold shift and enter, and means I'll run this code, and then Python will tell me, okay, you have only one 34 value in your list. So as you can see, there is only one 34 value in your list. So that is how you can count how many values, like what values, the count of the values in your list, using this command count. Now let's take copy, for example. So let's say I want to copy my the list one which I have here. I want to copy it and give it to some other list. For example, the name of the list is list 2. So how I will do that? It is simple. So list has a command name copy. The process is simple. First of all, you have to define the identifier, which is list2. Means now you are declaring another list. So you have to have another identifier. So the name is list2 is equals to list list1 from where you want to copy dot copy copy, and then the round brackets. So this is the command list1 dot copy, and then if you'll run this, so the list2 will contain all of the things that you have in list1. Let's see list list2. Then if the list2 contains all of the things that I have there in my list1. So basically the Python copied the list1 into the copied the content of the list1 and pasted it into list2. So I have all the values in my list2 as well. Okay, so let's say another command is extend. Let's say I want to add multiple values. For example, I have a command append, which will add only one value, insert only one value to the list. If I'll go ahead and try something, let's say I want to add two values in the list. If I'll enter, it throws an error. Basically, I have value violated the rule. It is saying append takes only one argument. You have given two. Likewise, I have given two arguments here, and the command append takes only one. So I cannot add more than one values at a time. So let's see. We have a different command for that. How to add more than one value. So we have a command called extend, which is I'll press tab and I'll search extend, and then this the curly brackets, and then I have to add more than one value. So how I will do that? So again, I'm specifying a square bracket to add multiple values. Likewise, how we defined list here, we you define it using a square bracket. So likewise here, if I want to add one list into the existing list, I'll say extend and then the square brackets, and then I'll type 21 or anything, any value that you want to add, and then I'll enter this. Now if I want to see the content of list1, I'll type list1 and I'll run this, and you can see the values added here: 21, 45, and 78. So 21, 45, 78 is added at the back of the list. Okay, good enough. We have added we have learned how to insert multiple values into the list. Now another command is, let's say I want to find out the position of a value. For example, let's take the value as 22. Now I want to find out at what position this 22 value is stored. So I can count it manually. For example, first we'll count it manually. As I told you, the indexation starts from 0. So the first character is 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3. I'll say 0, 1, 2, 3. So 22 is present at the third position. Okay, so I'll say now I want Python to count me to tell me where the value 22 is present in my list. So I'll say list1 tab. The command is index to show me where what is the index, basically what is the index of that value, and I'll press 22 here, and then I'll enter. So the Python is showing me, okay, the 22 values present at index 3, the same as we counted, the same result: 0, 1, 2, 3. So Python is telling me the correct output. Okay, so we talked about this. There is another command. For example, you want to insert something. Now this insert is different from append and extend, because now you want to, let's say you don't want to insert any value at the back of the list. You want to insert the value at the index you specified. For example, I want to add a value, let's say 74 at index number 2. So how I can do that? So here is 0, 1, 2. So in place of 25, I want the value 74. So I'll say list1, which is the name of the identifier. I'll press tab, and then I'll say insert, and then first the round brackets, the procedure we know now, and then I'll press at what position I wanted, 0 1 2. So at the second position I wanted the value 74, so I'll press 2 at the second position I wanted, so I'll press 2 for the position, and then I'll press the value itself. So the first comes the index at which you want to, at what index you want to insert the value, and then the value itself. And then when I'll press, and when, and when I'll run this, uh, and I'll see, as you can see, the Python added 74 at the second index. So 0, 1, 2. Yeah, so 74 is added at the second index. So this is how you can insert the value at a specified position. Let's say I want to delete some value from the list. So how I can delete that value? So let's take this example. List.pop4. And the procedure is same. List1.pop. Pop is the command to remove. There is another command remove, but we'll talk about. Let's focus on pop, for example. We'll press the value which you want to know. So what we are doing in pop is we want to we are specifying the index from which the value should be removed, not the value itself. So for example, I want the value which is 0 1 2. So, okay, 74, we are removing 74, so I'll write the index of the value which is 2, for example. So list.pop 2, and then I'll run this thing, and then the Python gave me the output 74, which means that this value 74 has been popped out or removed from the list. If I'll see the list again, let's see the list, if the Python has actually done deleted the value or not. And you can see this, the value 74 which we have here is gone now. Sorry guys. So yeah, so we have popped the value 74. Now let's say I want to remove my name. Now we want to remove by giving the value, not index. We want to remove item by giving the value of the item, not the index of the item. Basically, not the position of the item. So I'll say list1, which is my the identifier name dot, and the command is remove, and then I'll press the value, which is my name. I want to remove this, and I'll press enter, and then you can see if the Python has removed that or not. I'll say list1, I'll check. Yeah, so Muzzammil has been removed from the list. So now you can see the new list does not contain my name, do not contain my name. Okay, so this was some command. Let's say some more command really quick, and then we'll move on to next data type what we have. If you want to reverse the order, for example, the order is 21 21 34, likewise. If I want to remove this order, reverse this order, so the command is list1.reverse, and then if I'll and check, if I'll run this and I'll check the order, as you can see, the order which was this 21 34 is now reversed. So 21 21 34 is at the last, and what we have at last is 78 45. So it now that value is at first. So is at first position. So basically what we have done is we have basically reversed the list. Okay. Now let's say I want to sort the list. So the command is list1.sort, and then I'll enter this, and I'll see if the Python has sorted that list for me or not. So yeah, the Python has sorted. So basically the Boolean data types come first, and then this is the value 10, 10.1, 21, 21, and then from as ascending order, smallest to uh, greater number. So the Python has done the sorted the list in ascending order. Let's say we want to sort the list in descending order now. So what we'll do is there's uh, a command inside the sort command, which is reverse, and I'll tell the Python, okay, reverse equals to true. Let's run this, So what I'm basically simply saying is reverse equal to 2 means sort the list in descending order. Now if I'll see the list, I'll see, so the Python has sorted it in descending order. So the bigger value, which is 178, comes first, and then the smaller values comes. Okay. So this was about the sorting part. Now if I want to delete the whole list, I'm not using that list anymore. So you do not have to delete the list. When you'll close this instance, it will automatically be deleted. But the best practice, you have del command, which is the short form for delete, and then you'll press enter. And if you'll see the list one, if you try to access list one now, so the Python is showing the error, name list one is not defined. Now because the list one is deleted from our memory, that's why the Python is saying, okay, the name list one is no longer there, or it is not defined. So this is how you can delete a list. Okay, so this was about the list data type. The list is the collection data type. Let's talk about tuple. Before that, I'll drink some water. Okay, so let's talk about tuple data type. Now, what is the difference? Because we are storing multiple values in the list and we are storing multiple values in tuple as well. So what is the difference there? Why have we introduced one more data type? We have list, we can use list. So why tuple now? Okay. Um, so we'll say tuples have some rules or some attributes that we have to see that makes it different from the list. So tuple items are ordered, unchangeable, and allow duplicates values. So list also allow duplicates value. So what's the difference? You can see tuples items are unchangeable. In list, you can delete some variables. Sorry, you can delete some values. For example, we saw some commands to delete some values, which is let's say remove. We removed my name from the list. But in tuple, once you add all the values in the tuple, then you cannot delete any value. For example, we have a scenario where we want to we don't want the other user to delete the values from the tuple. To delete some values, so we define that values inside a tuple, then the values will not be deleted. So that's the difference we have in using a list and a tuple. So that's an advantage, or you can say it depends on scenario. At what point, if you want your values that it can delete or it can change, then you can use list. But if your data is sensitive and you don't want that data to be deleted, then you have to use tuple. So how you can define tuple? So defining tuple is really simple. It's as same as list, just one change. My tuple, the identifier name, like we know now what is the rule, and then instead of square bracket, I'll type round bracket. So as you can see, I'll type the round bracket. That's the difference. Then that's the difference. Then the Python will understand. Okay, you have defined a tuple instead of a list. Okay. We'll say 12, 13, and 15, 25. Okay. So we have added some values inside that tuple, and then we'll run this. And now we'll see the tuple. So the tuple have our value. Now, what are the commands that are available with tuples? So tuple, so dot, the my tuple dot, and then tab. You can see there are only two commands which we can do with tuple. We can count and we can see the index. So there is only two commands. Let's see count. If I'll run this, the Python will throw an error, takes one argument. It means that we can count the occurrence of a value. So if I'll press 12, means I have only one value inside my tuple. So I have only one 12 inside my tuple. So it is showing me, okay, 12 is uh, is at count one. Now let's say I'll like we saw this thing. So let's say I'll have duplicates 12. It means two 12 I have now. So I'll count the values of 12. So you can see the Python is giving me 2, which means I have two 12s in my tuple. And the next command was index. I want to see the index of a value. which is, let's say, 14. Then I'll enter. As you can see, the Python gave me 1. Why 1? Because the indexation starts from 0, 0 is for 12, and 1 is for 14. So the Python gave me the index, which is 1. Let's try this. Let's say I want 12. So the Python gave me the very first index, because we have two 12s defined. So there is an ambiguity. What the Python will understand, what 12 are you referring to? So the Python by default takes this 12. So the Python will search where the 12 is, and the first the, the first value that it encounters, the first index that it encounters, the value it, and then it will show the first index. So for example, the 12 is at the 0th index, so the Python gave me 0, and it ignored the last part, because it basically gives me, if there are the duplicates value, the Python gives me the very first value that it encounters. Okay, so we just have two commands in tuples, which we saw. Now there is another data type, collection data type, which is sets. So we have seen list, we have seen tuple, and we saw the difference between these two. That in tuple, you cannot delete any value. Now, what's the difference between the sets as well? What's the difference between these two data types we have, which is a list and a tuple and a set? So what's the difference between this? So duplicates, first of all, duplicates are not allowed in sets. So if you want to create a data set, data type, which collection data type, where you don't want any duplicates value, then you can define a set. Also, indexing and slicing is not available, so you cannot index and slice the data type as well. And also heterogeneous data is allowed, and it is mutable. So basically the tuple was immutable, means unchangeable. You cannot delete any value, or you cannot add some values once the tuple has been defined. But in sets, that is not the case. You can delete some values as well, but you cannot have duplicates values in a set. So that's the difference between a tuple list and a set. So now how you can define a set? So the process is really simple. Let's say the identifier name, which is very important, it should be at the first, and then instead of round brackets, or instead of so round brackets, it's for tuple, and the square bracket is for list. So what we have for sets, we have this braces for curly braces for uh, the sets. So you can see the curly braces, it's for set. And then if for accessing curly braces, it's in my keyboard, it's be above the square brackets. So when you want to access it, you have to press shift and then press the square bracket button, and then the uh, curly braces will appear. So this is like basic stuff. If you don't know, then now you know. Okay, so this is for how you can define set. You have to use curly braces. Now you'll say, now you can have any value you want, 14, 16, any value you want, and then yeah, so you have to separate it by a comma. So or else it will throw an error. Okay, so now if I'll enter this, so the set is defined now. So set assets. Now if I want to see my set, what the set contains, as you can see, we defined this 12, 25, 1, 16, 78, the values in this order. But the set gave me 1, 12, 16, 25, 78. So by default, the values that are being stored in a set will be in ascending order. So if you give the value in any order, for example, bigger for smaller than bigger, then the set will convert that to ascending order by default. Okay, so now what are the uh, commands that we have available with the set is, you can add means insert as same as list, you can copy as same as list, and you can pop. This is the command which is also same as list, remove. So basically all the commands, the similar commands we have with the sets as well. But what is the unique command we have here is difference. Now if I want to see the difference between two sets, so you have, so basically this is like high school grade statistics or maths. you have sets and now you want to say that see the difference between these two sets. So this is the command sets dot difference, and then in square bracket you will type the next set. For example, my new set is S1. Now I want to check the difference between sets and S1. So I'll type sets dot difference S1. I'll pass a set here and then I'll press enter, and then it gave me the difference between these two sets. So what is the difference? 1, 12, 16, 25. 1, 12, 16, 25. Because 78 was present here, so that's why it skipped 78, and 19 and 10 will not participate because we want A minus B, means set A minus S1. So that's why these two guys will not participate. Now, so this is the difference command if you want to see any difference. And let's say sets dot, what is the next command? We'll take a super quick one more command and then we'll move forward. um, let's take systematic, no, let's take discard. So if I want to discard something from the set, for example, let's take the value 12, and if I want to discard it, I'll press sets dot discard 12, the value name, and then if I'll see the content of my sets, so the 12 will not be there anymore. You can see 1, 16, 25, 78. So 12 was discarded from the set. Okay. So these were some commands about set. So we understood how to run commands. So likewise, so sets have redundant commands which we saw in the list. That's why we are not covering all the commands, because we saw that above with the list. So that these are all same commands. So now the next thing is we have dictionary. So so I don't know. Let's if you are bored, so let's take a break for 10 minutes. What you guys say? So I think in the chat box, uh, can you type me and say if we should take a break or not? Um, let's take a break for 10 minutes and then we'll continue with dictionaries. What do you guys say? There are 55 attendees. I think you cannot send chats to me. That's why. Uh, so what we'll do is let's take a break for 10 minutes and then we'll come back and then we'll discuss about some more Python stuff. Okay. So let's take a break for 10 minutes.
Mohammed sir, hello.
Okay, hello guys, welcome back. The break is over. It was a 10-minute break. It's over. Um, okay, so we were talking about dictionary. We talked about different data types which were integers, float, boolean, string. These were 4 5 data types that we talked about, and then we talked about collection data types that we have, which are list, tuples, and sets. There is one more collection data types that we use in Python. We talked about these 3 data types and the differences in which scenarios these data types will be used. But there is one more data type, which is a dictionary. Now, why do we use dictionary? Dictionary is basically a key value pair. You can think of dictionary as an index which you have at the when you start your book. When you read a book, you have an index where index contain your chapter's name and the page number. So the chapter's name are key and the page numbers are their value. So key, value, and these two are a pair, key value pair. So when you open a book and then you want to go to chapter 15, for example, then you go ahead and you search the dictionary, the name of the chapter, and then you go to the page number, which is which is at the side of that chapter name. So that is how dictionary also work. We have keys and then we have the values. Okay, so now first of all, how to define a dictionary. So we'll see how to define a dictionary. For example, my dictionary name is dictionary. Let's say dictionary, nary, okay, is equals to. So it's the rule identifier, and then we'll have a braces, curly braces. Now sets also have curly braces. So what's the difference? In dictionary, we'll first specify our key and then we'll specify our value. So the Python will understand, okay, this person is saying me to define a dictionary, not a set. So we'll have our key first. For example, let's take the book example. We'll have chapter name, chapter uh, name, which is my key, and then the chapter name values. So the chapter names value would be, let's take the chapters are 1, 2. We have to specify it in a list. So one, the square brackets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so there are 4 chapters naming 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's take uh, so the next thing is we have chapter name, now the page number. So the next key we have here is page number. So before that, we have to check, we have to separate everything in Python. We have to separate it by comma. So first of all, what we have done here is we defined our key, which is chapter name, and then we put a colon. So colon specifies that this is the key, the left side of the colon is a key, and the right side of the colon is the values of that key. So we have defined a key here as the chapter name, and then we have defined values here at the right side of the colon. Then we'll press a comma here. We'll separate it by a comma, and then we'll go ahead and define our next key. So our next key is, let's say, it's page number. Okay, so page number, and then again colon, as you can see. So we talked about string data type. So any string in the Python will be in quotes. So if you are wondering why I'm putting that in quotes, so that is why, because every word or every character in Python will be in quotes. And then page number is also in quotes. And then I have specified a colon. So at the left side of the colon is keys and the right side is values. So the values will be, let's say page number is 12, 15, 14, and 96. Okay, so this is our keys. So this is our dictionary. This is how we define a dictionary. And then if I'll run this, the dictionary is defined. So if I want to see my dictionary, what I'll do is I'll type the identifier name. If I'll run this dictionary, you can see the chapter name is the key here, and its value corresponding value is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next key is page number, and then the corresponding value is 12, 4, 15, 14, 96. Okay, so this is how we define a dictionary. Now some properties. So only one property about dictionary is that it is mutable. Uh, so you can mutable means it's changeable. You can add some values, you can delete some values. Okay, so this is how to define a dictionary. A dictionary is a key value pair. Yeah. Now, so what are the commands that we have with dictionaries? For example, we have some commands with list, tuple, set. So there must be some commands with dictionary as well. Yes, we have some commands with dictionary as well. Let's take our command this. If we want the first command or any random command, if we want to copy our dictionary to another dictionary, so we'll do this command copy. We saw this in the list also, but let's see it again. So dic1 is my second dictionary that I am defining. Now I want to copy the content of this dictionary into this dic1, which is my another dictionary. So I'll press dictionary, which is the name of my first dictionary, and then I'll do a period, which is dot, and then I'll press tab. Now these are the list of commands that are available with me. For example, let's take copy. I want to copy this, and then I'll copy, and then I'll press enter. So dic1 now contain all the content of the dictionary. And then if I'll run this, you can see dic1 contains all the content of the my first dictionary. Okay. Now what is the next command we're going to take? For example, I have a key. For example, I have chapter name as a key. I want to see all the values of the chapter name. So what I'll do is I just want the values of the chapter name. What I'll do is I'll have the command dictionary, which is my identifier dot tab. Now what is the command get? Get means to get something. Okay, so I'm telling Python to give me all the uh, values of the key which I'm specifying. For example, I'm specifying a key which is chapter name. I want to get all the values of this key. I'll press enter. So the Python gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, which are nothing but my keys which I have specified. So this is how you can get all the values of a specified key. And this is the same command pop. If you want to pop something, if you want to pop a key, a delete, pop means delete. Okay, if you want to delete something, some value, we'll do dictionary dot pop, and then we'll specify the key name, what key we want to delete. For example, we want to delete chapter name. Okay, so we'll specify the key, and then we'll press enter, and then you can see Python gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means that this thing is now deleted. Now if I'll see the dictionary again, uh, so you can see only page number is there. Rest the chapter name was deleted because I deleted it using the command pop. Okay, so pop is means to delete something. Okay, we learned that. Now if you want to add more keys, so this is the command set default to add more keys to the dictionary. For example, I'm adding dictionary dot set default, and then I want to add this name as a key in my dictionary. So I'll do that. I'll press the command set default, and then I have entered. I'll run this, and if I want to see that it added or not, that it is added or not, I'll see the content of my dictionary, which is this, and you can see a new key is added, name, and the values are none because I didn't specify any values. That's why the values are none, but we can go ahead and add these values as well. Okay, so we talked about how to add more keys to the dictionary. Let's say let's take one more command really quick, and then we'll move forward. Let's take if I want to update something. For example, if I want, so I have two dictionaries. If I want to if I want to update the values of my dictionary 1. Let's say I have two dictionaries naming A and B. So if I want to update the values of the dictionary 1 with the values of dictionary B, the values of dictionary A with the values of dictionary B. So what I'll do is, this is the command update. So I'll specify what dictionary I want to update. So dictionary, this is the dictionary identifier name. So this is the dictionary that I would like to update, and then I'll press dot, and then the command is update, 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 and then I'll pass another dictionary. So like we told, I want to update the dictionary A with the values of the dictionary B. Okay. So I have to define another dictionary then, because then how will if I didn't define, how will I update? So I'm defining another dictionary with naming CD. Okay. Now I want to update. So I'll pass CD here, and I'll enter this. Now if I'll see the content of my dictionary, you can see there is the previous content, which was page number, which was already there in the dictionary, and then we updated CID 12345, and then C name, and then the values of the C name, which is here. So my CD contains these things, so this thing got updated here, and then the name came. So I've updated the values of one dictionary into the another dictionary. So this is how you update. So we talk about get command, which will get us all the values, and there are multiple commands in dictionaries as well, but we'll not go through all of them, obviously because of time limit. But you can go ahead and use all of the commands, um, and see. For example, dictionary.values will give you all the values that is present in the dictionary without the key name. So here my dictionary contain 12, 15, 14, 96, none, which is for name, and this one name, and then CID, and then C name. But it didn't give me the keys. It just gave me all the values. So this is how you can get all the values without the key name. Okay. So these were some commands. So in order to manipulate or play with the dictionary, so these were some commands. Now, why are we? You must be thinking, why are we learning all this? Because we have a data. Okay, we have multiple data. In data science, what we are doing, we have data. Now what we want to do is, we want to manipulate that data in order to find a pattern in that data. That's why we have all these commands to manipulate this data. At the end, what are we doing with the data? We have our data stored in our system. At the end, we want to access that data. We are doing three things. We want to read that data, means access that data. We want to write into that data, means we are writing over that data, changing, making it a new data altogether, or we are updating or inserting or deleting or modifying. So all these commands we are doing with this data, all these things we are doing with this data. That's why these are all the commands that you can use to in order to play, modify, insert, delete with the data. Okay. So up till now we talked about identifiers, which we know by now why identifier is so important. Then we discussed about data types, 4 or 5 data types. Then we discussed about collection data type. Then we want to have multiple values um, in our identifier. So for collection data types, list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. Now these are enough to go ahead. Now we'll talk about operators. So let's talk about operators. So up till now, we have done like some manipulations with the data, but now we'll do some mathematical operations on data. For example, we'll add two datas, we'll subtract, we'll do multiplication. So how we can do these things, we'll talk about that now. First of all, what are operators in Python? Operators you can think of as are special symbols that can carry out arithmetic or logical computations. So, in simpler terms, when you want to add something or subtract something, multiply, or if we want to check if the variable A is greater than variable B, or the variable B is greater than A, or if these two values are equal, or uh, or if we want to do a modulo, means we want to modulo A with B, or we want to have the power of A, for example, 2 to the power 2. So all this mathematical stuff that we can do in Python is with the use of these operators. So operators will help us in achieving this computations. So this we have like 5 operators in Python, which are the first one is arithmetic, and then we'll talk about 4 of them. But let's talk about start with arithmetic first. So what is arithmetic operators? Operators. Okay. Um, Arithmetic operator, as the name signifies, it will help us to add something, subtract something, multiply or divide something, do modulo or floor division. We'll talk about floor division, is not a thing. And then power, or if you want to, power means if you want to find out the square of something or cube of something, then we'll use these operators. So let's see them one by one. Now, how to add two values in Python? For example, we have a, which have value 10. A identifier have value 10, and then we have b, which have value 2. Now we want to add these two variables. How we'll add these two variables? Now first of all, what will be the result? 10 plus 2 is 12. Now how we'll add? We'll type a, then we'll type plus, so it's an addition operator because plus, and then b, so a plus b, and when we'll run this, it's giving us 40. Okay, so we didn't executed this, that's why. Let's check, because the earlier we gave a and b different values. Now we will give a and b 10 and 12. So we'll first check the value of a, which is 10. Now the value of b, which is 2. Okay, now we'll add these things, a plus b. Now when I'll run this, it will give me 12. So this is how you can add two things, two variables in Python. Okay, now how to subtract two things? It's really simple. As you have guessed it, it's minus a minus b. When we'll run this, it will give us 8. So 10 minus 2 is 8. Okay, now how to multiply? As you have guessed it, a into b, which will give us 20. 10 into 2 is 20. Okay, so this is what addition, subtraction, multiplication. We'll talk about division, how to divide two things. The slash, we use this slash uh, tilted toward right side. So this slash you have to keep in mind, a slash b, and then we'll enter, and it will give us, it is giving us 5.0, which is 10 divided by 2 is 5. It's giving us 5.0. Now if you, because it's giving us floating values, now I don't want a floating value, I want a whole number. Basically I want an integer, not a floating. So I'll do 2 slash, which is floor division. Means floor division means ignore the rest of the part, ignore the decimal part. So I'll specify 2 slash here, and I'll press enter, and then it will give me 5. So it ignored the decimal part. Okay, now how to module means how to find the modulo of two things, means a modulo b. So to find out modulo, basically to mod two values, we give percent. So this is the percentage, we'll give percent, and then we'll give the next variable, which is b, and then we'll enter. It's giving us 0. So in mod 2 is 0. Now okay, so what is 10 to the power 200, right? So for giving the power, I'll specify 2 stars. For multiplication it's 1 star, but to give power, so a power b means a to the power b, it means a, and then double asterisk or star in simpler terms, double asterisk, and then b contains 2. So 10 to the power 2 is 100. All right, you can also give 10 to the power 3 as well. So what is 10 to the power 3? 1000. Okay, so this is how you can find out a to the power b. Also, the next thing we have here is okay, so we talked about all of these things. We talked about addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo, floor division, and power. Okay, so these were the arithmetic operators that that we use in Python to find out to do some arithmetic calculation, mathematical calculation in Python. Okay. Now the second operator we have here is relational operator. Now relational operator, as the name signifies, will tell us the relation between the two variables or the two values. For example, if I want to check if A is greater than B or not. So A contains, let's see, A contains 10 and B contains 2. So is A greater than B? Yes, true. So Python will give us true. So how you can find if A is greater than B? I'll type A and then the greater than sign, which is towards A. So A greater than B. And if I'll enter this, Python will give me true. It means, yes, A is greater than B. But if opposite is true, no, right? 2 is not greater than 10. So I'll have B greater than A. Python will give me false. No, it's not the case. A 2 is not greater than B. Okay. Now we also have smaller than sign. Just changes and B smaller than A. Yes, B is smaller than A. Python will give me true. And yeah, and we also have greater than equal to, means if A is greater than or if not greater than equal to B. So you understand this thing. A, if A is greater than B, if not greater than, at least it is equal to B. And if that's the case, it will give me true. And that is also to the um, smaller than signs as well. So if A is smaller than B, if not, then if A is smaller than or equal to B, means at least it should be equal to B, then it will give me true. But that will not be the case because it is the both values are not equal. So that's why the Python gave me false. Okay. So we talked about four things, which is greater than, if you want to check A is greater than B or not, or smaller than, or greater than equal to, or smaller than equal to. So we talked about in terms of numerical values, for example, 10, 20. Let's talk about in terms of string as well. So yes, we can compare two strings as well. So how we will compare two strings? The comparison will happen based on the length of the string. Okay. Now, for example, A contains, let's run this first. Okay, so A contain my name, my first name, Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, A contains 8 character. B contains MUZZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. B contains 9 character. Means A is smaller than B. Now the case is opposite. Okay. So if you want to check, um, we'll again take a stop for pause for 2 minutes and then we'll continue. Okay, so I just noticed that you have asked me some questions, but I was in like staff panel, so I was not able to see the questions. But now, if I go ahead in attendees panel, then you can see the questions that you have asked, and so there are much questions. But at the end, I'll try to. There are some questions. I think unknowingly I have given the answer to these questions. Um, which link, which is where is the shared link, so you have to contact ICAI because I shared them the link, and they acknowledged that the participant have downloaded the software Anaconda. I'll share the link again in the chat box, don't worry about that, but you can go ahead and Google Anaconda, Anaconda, Conda, and then you can see the link there. And also we are staying with a go slow. Okay, I'll go slow from now. And add identifiers and variables, the same thing. Yes, identifiers and variables are the same thing. Um, uh, so the next thing is break. Sure, sure. Okay. Uh, how to confirm the program has been downloaded? So yeah, so to confirm the program has been, so this workbook has been downloaded, you can go, for example, you can go to your download section, and then you can see, you can search for Python for data science workshop, this file name, and then you can see, okay, it is downloaded, it has downloaded. So that's how you can confirm. You can get the file in which I am working. Yes, at the end, I'll share the file, basically at the end of session, or if you want now also, you can, I can share it with you, but that will be some problem because then you will be focused on uh, running the codes. You will be more focused on running the codes than to hear me. That's why I will share at the end. Don't worry, I'll share all the codes with you. Say h equal to Hitesh and I type h3, it will return e. However, if I want 0 to 3, it will return hit. So yeah, Hitesh. So because 0, 1, 2, your name is HITESH. So you want the first three characters, right? So that's why you have typed 0 colon 3. So your first three character is HIT. That's why it has written HIT. Why not HITE? Because HITE is the first four characters. You type first three. That's why HIT. Okay. So didn't understand modulo. Modulo is basically when you mod two values. For example, 10 mod 2 is 0. So this is like high school they teach you. 10 mod 2 0, and uh, yeah, 10 mod 2 0. That's the modulo. You can Google search, and please keep your audio mute. Okay. And can you please guide on installing? And yeah, I have guided on Anaconda. Uh, at the very start, I have guided how to open Anaconda as well. So you can, if this got uploaded, then you can see. And how can I get the file? I'll share the file. So that's what all your questions. Hopefully, I have shared. I have answered all the questions. But if you have any, then we can, yeah, type the questions, and I will see, will solve that. Now I know how to see the questions. So I was in the staff panel, that's why I was not able to see the questions as well. Okay, so where were we? We were at equality. Yeah, so we were working with strings. So based on the length of the string, also you can see if there is a relation. Uh, okay. So based on the length of the string, we can see if yeah, there is a relation, means A is greater than B or not. So we counted. So A is smaller than B. A has 8 characters and B has 9 characters. Okay. So if I'll run this, okay, let's run this. If A is greater than B, it will give me false because A has 8 characters and B has 9 characters. So the relation between two strings will happen on the length, because obviously you cannot compare values because character does not have a value. So the relation operator will be done on the length of the string. So all the things we talked about, we discussed about, which is if A is greater than B, A greater than or equal to, smaller than equal to, or smaller than, then there's all these things will be true here as well. The difference is it will be based on the length of the string. Let's take one more example and then we'll go ahead. If A is greater than or equal to b, or sorry, smaller than or equal to b, it will give me true because a is smaller than b. Yes. So this is what where we can execute based on the length of the string. Okay. So we talked about two operators. The first one being arithmetic operator, the second one being a relational operator. Now we'll go ahead and talk about the next operator, which is equality operator. Equality operator is really simple. We are just checking if these two values are equal or not. And if these two values are equal to each other, then the Python will give us true. And if these two values are not equal to each other, Python will give us false. Okay. So we'll see. So what I have done is we have taken all the example with variables, with single values. Now let's take it with a list. So list one contains 10, 7, two values. List two contains 10, 2, two values. Now if I'll run this, and if I want to check if list one is double equal to, so single equal to means you are assigning some value to the identifiers. Double equal to means now you're checking if these two entities are equal to each other or not. So list 2, and then so if list 1 is equal to list 2, it will give us true, but that's not the case because the first part is equal 10 and 10. We have 10 and 10 here at the first index, 0th index, but we have 7 and 2 at the first index. So that's why it will not it will give us false, because these values, all the values in the list should be equal. So list 1 double equal to list 2, and then we'll enter, and it gave us false. Okay, fine enough. And if so I told you there are basically two things that we can do in equality operator. We can check if this thing is equal to or not, or we can check if this thing is not equal to or not. So basically it doesn't make sense, all right, but it will make sense as in when we will write some programs, so then it will make sense. So if list 1 not equal to list 2, so it will give us true, yes, because it is not equal to list 2. And not equal to is simply for equal to with type two equal to's, and then for not equal to will type an exclamation and then a equal to sign. So an exclamation and an equal to sign will signifies that something is not equal to each other. Okay. Let's take an example where we'll have a list which is equal to each other. Let's take so I made some changes in the list. So now list 1 and list 2 are both equal to each other. And if I'll write if these things, it will give me false because list 1 and list 2 is equal to each other. Now if I'll type double equal to means I'm checking if these two things are equal to each other. Yes, it's equal to each other. So true. So basically do two things, equal to, not equal to. These two things are there in equality operator. Okay, so now the next thing is logical operator. So this is the really simple operator. What we do here is basically we have three commands that we can say. So in logical operators we have and, or not. Remember we talked about keywords at the very start, and I told you that we'll have some understanding about keyword as in go ahead in the session. Yeah, so and is basically a keyword, or is basically a keyword, not is basically a keyword, true and false are keywords, and this plus that we saw, addition operator is a keyword, minus operator is a keyword, subtraction is a keyword. All these things that we are saying in operator now is a keyword, so it has predefined meaning with the Python. That's why we cannot use it as an identifier name. Yeah, so these are keywords we are talking about now. So don't confuse operators with keyword. You can think of as an umbrella. Or keywords are the main term, and in that umbrella, operators fall. So keyword is the big thing, and under that umbrella, the operator is falling. For loop, we'll talk about that will fall under the keyword as well. So it's just a name. For example, as humans, we are so I'm a human, you are a human. So we are equal in terms of the umbrella human, and then will be differ because my culture will be different, your culture, and then someone who's living in America, the culture will be different, the language will be different. So you can correlate with these two things. So the next operator we have here is logical operator. It's really simple. If two entities, for example, we'll, sorry, we can apply logical operators between true and false. For example, if the first thing is true and the second thing is also true, the Python will give us true and is a logical operator. So what it means is the first thing also need also to be true, and the second thing also need to be true. That's when the Python will give me true. If the first thing is true and the second thing is false, it will give me false because both the values at the left side and the right side, both the LHS should be equal to RHS. That's when it will give me true. Okay. uh, and then we have or means only one value needs to be true and the next value could be false as well. For example, let's see true or false. Only one value needs to be true. Either it can be either on LHS or it can be either on RHS. Let's take another example where we have false and at the left hand side and we have true at the right hand side, and Python will give me true. Okay, so or means only one value needs to be true, and means both the value needs to be true. And another one, not is really simple. If you have false, for example, not false, what it will give me true. Basically, it's inversing what I'm giving it to. Basically, it's reversing it. For example, the opposite of false is true, and the opposite of true is false. So it's really giving me the opposite one. Not false, it means true. Simple English. And then not true, what it will be, as you have guessed it, false. Yeah. Okay. So these were the three operators, and, or, and not, and logical operators. Now you must be thinking, why are we using true and true, false and true? Because these things, equality operator and relational operator, gives us only two values as an output. It gives us false and it gives us true. Either A will be greater than A will be greater than B, or A will be not greater than B. So if A is greater than B, it will give me true, and if A is not greater than B, it will give me false. Then I can apply the logical operator in between. So I want to check two conditions. For example, I want to check two conditions. The condition is if A greater than B and C is the next identifier, should also be greater than B. Then if these two, for example, if A is greater than B, it will give me true, and if C is greater than B, it will give me true. And if these two conditions satisfied, I will go to the next step. We'll talk about conditions in like next session, but for the part for today, you can think of as if these two conditions are true, I'll go to next step. If if any of these two conditions returns false, means not true, then I'll not go to the next step. And if I apply or here, so if A is greater than B, if this is true, and if C is not greater than B, means this is false as well. So this is true and this is false. I'll go to the next step because or means only one value needs to be true. The next value, if no, it doesn't matter if only one value is true, then next value is false or true. It doesn't matter. We'll go to the next step. So this is logical operators where we are checking if that if the values are true or false. We're checking all the stuffs. So I have written in a comments. Comment means for example, let's talk about comment for a second. Comment means in simpler terms, you are saying something to the user who is seeing the program. For example, I am a developer, and in some time you will be a developer too. So if I'm writing some code and if by seeing the code itself you don't understand what I am intending here, what is the command that I'm giving to the machine. So I can write a comment. To start a comment, there's a hashtag. And you can see the colors change, and then I can write anything, plain English, anything. Then it will not throw an error. It means it's a comment. I'm telling the other user who is reading the program that okay, I mean this by this command. For example, I have written a comment here. If all the arguments are true, then true only. If at least one true is required to get true in the or operator, like we talked. So this is the comment which I am giving here, so that when you'll download this file, you'll know if you forgot something, then you'll know you have your comments handy with you, then you can use that. Okay, so we have like 45 minutes left. We'll talk about inputs in Python. So up till now, what we are doing is we are giving the values by ourselves. We are hard coding the values, giving the values. If a programmer or developer gives the value into the program by itself, then it's known as hard coding the value. For example, a equal to 10. I'm giving the value by myself. So now what I want to go more dynamic into the things. Okay, before inputs, we'll see if you have any questions, so that we'll not miss the part. If you have any questions, you can ask. Now I know how to see questions. So if you have, you can ask some questions, and then we'll go ahead uh, with the inputs in Python. I'll wait for 1 minute. Um, Anaconda new notebook doesn't open. It says error. New notebook doesn't open. It says error. Okay, so you can type what's the error it's saying, Neha. If you can show me the error, then basically you can type the error, then I'll be able to understand what's the error. So if the Anaconda is throwing the error, it means that it was not executed properly. You have to make sure that your operating system, what bit operating system you have, whether it is a 34-bit or a 32-bit or a 64-bit operating system, then you can go ahead and download that architecture means 64-bit installer based on your operating system. If you have a 32-bit, then you should download the 32-bit installer, and then it will not throw an error. Basically, most of the time that's the error, and that I showed you guys at the very start how to open this Anaconda. Can you please guide on installing Anaconda on PC? Okay, what we'll do is at the end, I'll repeat that how to install Anaconda on PC. And okay, so no much comments, not much questions here. Okay, so can we get these values from Excel? Yes, Rajat, we can get these values from Excel. We'll talk about that in the third, I think in tomorrow or in the day after tomorrow session, we'll talk about how to get values from CSV or Excel. So we'll be talking about that as well. So an error occurred while creating a new notebook. Okay, so that I think that's an installation error. Okay, so that's an installation error. We'll have a repeat telecast of what we saw um, at the very start to how to install the Anaconda. Okay, so that's the questions. Now we'll go ahead and talk about inputs in Python. Okay. So up till now, what we were doing is, as we discussed, we were hard coding the values. The developer, like me, I was giving the value by myself. I'm not asking for the user. It might happen that you are creating an application, or you are doing something in data science board only. You're creating something, then you want to input some values from the user as well. So how you can do that? you can ask user to, okay, provide me some values, so that I'll go ahead and process these values. Okay, so that's when the inputs in Python concept comes into picture. Yeah. So we have a command. Its name is input. INPUT. Simple English. Input. What we'll do is, if we want to ask something from the user as an input, the very first thing we do in Python is we specify a identifier. For example, I specify the identifier as a name equal to, and then the command itself. So the command is INPUT. So this is a keyword. You can see this appeared in green. It's a keyword. So INPUT is the command, and then we'll press round brackets, and we'll type in some user-friendly message. So basically, the user has to understand what the user have to input, because you are asking for input. So the user will not understand what you want as an input. Do you want my name, my age, my salary? You want my money? What do you want? So so you have to type enter the name. Okay, so now what we'll do is we are printing this user-friendly message onto the screen, so that the user will understand that the user have to input the name. Okay, now if I'll enter this, as soon as I enter, you can see this window showed up. Enter the name and then a box. So now I have to enter my name into this box. So I'll enter Muzzammil, and then I'll press enter, and you can see this program run. It didn't give me an output because I was not intending to get output, because I have inputted some values. So this you can basically you can refer it as what I'm doing basically here is, here like I'm hard coding the value. I'm giving this value Muzzammil to this variable name. So the same thing I'm doing here as well, but the difference is I'm asking for the value here, and I'm hard coding the value here. So I'm asking using the input command. I'm asking for the value. What is the value? And then so what we'll do is I'll print. So print. So we'll talk about print in a second. So next part is how to output something. That's the important part that we haven't discussed about up till now, but we'll discuss. So let's print. I want to print the name of the variable. Okay, let's you can think of print as you are giving a command to print something onto the screen. You can relate it as when you want to print something using the printer. What you do is you right click, and then here is the print command, Ctrl P, and then you can enter that, and it will print the paper. The printer will print something for you. The same goes here, but the difference is it will print that on your screen. It will show the output on your screen instead of using the printer. Okay, so if I'll enter this, it will ask me my name. I'm entering my name and I'm entering it, and then you can see this thing, print name. It means the value of the name is Muzzammil, so it is being shown here. Okay, so this is how you can enter. You can ask for any inputs. So one more thing, that is I'm entering string, and you can see that I'm entering a string here. I'm entering a word here. Now I want to enter an integer. An integer means I want to enter my salary. Let's take my salary as an input. I'll show the flaw here. What is the flaw? Then enter my salary. Let's see, 7 8. My salary. I don't want to tell you the salary, but let's think this is my salary. Uh, more than happy. Okay, and if I enter, then it showed me my salary. Now let's take what is the type of name we have here. Let's see that as well. So I'll enter my salary again, and then let's print. And you can see the type of name which we saw above, like the type, what the type do. It basically tell us what's the data type of that variable is. So it's showing me string, but is my salary a string? No, it's an integer. So Python is at fault here. So that's the fault. So how we can overcome that? We'll talk about the solution, but you can enter for string. You can use the input command to enter something. But if we want to ask for an integer input from the user, what we're going to do is we simply take, for example, the variable identifier salary equals to, we'll press int for integer input, and then we'll type the round brackets. Okay, then we'll in the round brackets we'll type input, and then the round brackets again. So lots of round brackets here. So let's see one by one. So first what we do is we want some integer input from the user. So what we did was we type int, which is an abbreviation of integer, and but then inside the round brackets we have here as integer, we write we code it input, which is the command for taking the input. Now what it will do is it will take the it will take the input as a string only, but what we have specified here is int. It will convert that string to integer, and then the converted integer will be stored into our salary. Let's see what I mean by let's see what I mean by this. Enter the salary, and then I'll enter. I'm entering my salary, and then I'll press enter. And okay, so I want to I want to see the type as well. So what is the type? I'm entering my salary again, and when I enter, you can see it's an integer. So now I can so now that's a solution, not the solution, but that's the thing, that's the way how you can take integer as an input in Python. You have to specify int here, and then the round brackets, and then input, and then the curly brackets, so yeah, round brackets. And then the Python will understand that you are asking for an integer input. Let's take the same example for floating as well. We can enter float value as an input as well. So let's say petrol prices, which are really high now. Petrol equal to float. So in place of int, what I've done is a simple change. I've typed float, which is an abbreviation of floating values, and I'll press round brackets, and then input, and then round brackets again, and then I'll ask enter the price. Okay, and when I'll run okay, so I have to also print the type as well, so we'll be able to understand what the type is. And then I'll write the petrol prices. I don't know what the petrol prices are. Let's take 97.89, and I'll press enter, and you can see the petrol has 97.89, and it's a floating data type. So that's how you can take float as an integer, float as an input in Python. So we talked about how to take string as an input, float as an input, and integer as an input. So okay, so let's take an example. So we have a task at hand here. Write a program where we want to read the employees data from the keyboard. So what we are doing here is we want to read all the data from the employees, all the data from the users we want as an input. So what we want as an input is I have specified here e number, which is employee number, equal to, now as you can guess, in number it will be an integer. So int round brackets input, then round brackets again, and then I'll ask enter the number. Okay, now the next thing is I want as an input employee name. So I'll have the identifier as employee name equal to so for string we don't have to specify str, because by default it's an it takes input as a string, so we don't have to specify str. So now I will say input input, uh, uh, enter the name. Okay, now I want to input the salary as well. So e sal is my identifier. You can use any name you want, but e sal, and then salary will be for, let's say, floating. It can be a float as well, so I'll take float, not flat, float, and then round brackets, and then input input, and then round brackets again, and enter the salary. Okay, now okay, now we have asked for the user to input the salary, and the last thing, address, e address, I want the address of the employee, and what I'll do is I take address as a string. So it can be the address can be house number 35, Gandhi Bagh. It can be like this, Bombay, Andheri, like this. It can be also like this, house number 35, flat number 201. So 201 is also a string. Sorry, is an integer. But what we are doing here is string can contain integer as well. But the difference is we cannot do arithmetic operation on string. We can, yes, we can do based on the length of the string, but not we want to do that's not what we want to do, because if I store 10 as a string as an input, then I want to see 10 plus 2. Now the length of the 10 value is 2. For string is 2, 1 and 0. So 10, the length of the value is 2. But I want the 10 as a value itself, not the length of the 10. So I'll say I'll convert that to integer, and then I'll use that in my Python, in my code. So now you can have house number 35 and this much stuff, because address, it will not don't want to do any arithmetic calculation on address. So that's why we can have a string. uh, I will say enter the address and then merit. Okay, we'll we'll have a boolean as well, so the process will be simple. Is equals to bool, which is an abbreviation of boolean. I want to take input the boolean data type, and then I'll say sorry, I'll miss one part, input, and then I'll say enter the status of marriage. Okay, now if I'll run this, the Python will ask one by one for my input. My employee number, I am 1. Okay, what is my name? My name is Sambil. Okay, enter. Then after I have entered Muzzammil, then it will ask for my salary. So what's my salary? Then enter. Then it will ask for my address. So what's my address? House number 35. Uh, Gandhi Bagh. Okay. Yeah. So now I'll enter. Now if I'm married, no. No. So Boolean takes two values, true and false. So I'll type false here, as I'm not married, and then enter this. Now this variable contains all these values. We can see one by one. E number will contain 1. Yes, this contains 1. E name will contain my name. Yeah. E cell will contain the salary. Okay, and you can see it's a floating type. 0.0 came automatically because we declared it as float. Now EADD address will be this. Okay, and then my status will be false. Oh, did I enter true? No, I entered false, right? So what this is saying? So yeah, let's try that again. 1, I'll enter my name, salary, address, can be anything, but I have entered false here. It is false. Now let's check. So it's giving me true. So I think that's a error. That's a fault in something. Why this is giving me true if I'm entering false? Let's see. Now I have entered true as my input, and if I'll see the status, it's true. So I have to check. I'll see what's the error here, because I'm entering false, but it's giving me true. Now you guys will say that's because you're married. No, that's not because I'm married. It's an error in Python. And okay, so I'll see what is the fault here, and I'll get back to you in the next class. But yeah, so till now we saw how to take inputs in Python, how to take user input in Python. Okay. Now, so we have taken single inputs from the user. Now we want to see how to enter multiple inputs For example, we want to enter a list of integers. How we can input a list of integers? So how to read multiple values from the keyboard in a single line? It's simple. Um, it is bool, so blank will be true. No, blank will not be true, I guess. Sorry, blank will false. Okay, yeah, blank will be false. Okay, so now how to take multiple input values from the keyboard in a single line? That's so simple. I want to enter 5 numbers, which is 5 and 10, 14, 70, 47, and I'll enter this and I'll see the status what's inside my a variable. If I see this, you can see it's 10, 4, 10, 5, 10, 14, 47. But the error here is that it is taking as a string because we didn't specify a int as an input. So it's taking, by default, it's taking as a string. Now, if you want to take multiple integers as input, then we have something. If you want to take, for example, multiple a list collection data type list as an input, then we have to specify the list command and then int and then input. So we'll go ahead one by one how to take multiple ints or integers as input. The process is simple. You define a variable. For example, my variable name is ab. Let's take ab, and then ab equals to, for what I'll say, I want as an input a list. So I'll say list list. Then I'll have a round brackets, then the map. Now what's the function of the map? We'll talk about in tomorrow's session. What's the map is doing here, but understand it as a rule that you have to put a map when you want to take multiple integers as input. So I'll have a round bracket here as well. Now I'll say int comma input input, and then in input I'll enter numbers. Now yeah, so now one thing also I want to say to the user that if you are entering two numbers, for example, the number one you are entering is 10 and the next number you are entering is 20, so you should enter a comma in between 10 and 20 so that I will understand, so that the Python will understand that I have to split the value a and value b, so these two values are splitted by a comma. So then only the Python will understand that I'm splitting these two values. Let's take a simple example here. I'm specifying, so that dot split, so the dot split command comes after the input. So when you are closing your input square round brackets, so input round brackets, and when you are closing this thing, dot, and then split split is the command that you will type to specify that if you are entering more than one value, then you should separate these two values by a comma. So then when I press enter and I press 10, 20, 30, and when I see, so you can see it gave me a list. It was 10, 20, 30. So it gave me three values which are separated by a comma. So we have to tell the user as well, when you are entering something, enter separated by a comma. So yeah, so we were here int, which we want an integer as an input, and then input the command itself, and then after, like I told you, like we discussed, after the input closing brackets, we'll type dot split, and then the comma split, then square brackets, and in square brackets I'm specifying that you have to split it by a comma. Okay, now if I'll run this, I can enter 10, 20, 30. Okay, now enter. Now if I'll see the type of AB, so it will be a list. You can see it's a list because I asked for the user list as an input. I asked, so one thing I forgot here, enter numbers, separate it by a comma. So you have to specify to the user who is entering it So that the user will understand, okay, I am entering multiple values. Now I have to separate it by a comma. And you can have in place of comma, you can have a hyphen as well. Then you have to say to the user, separate it by a hyphen. And then Python will go ahead and see. So we'll say 10 hyphen 20 hyphen 30, and we'll enter. Then we'll see the type of AB. It will be a list, and if we'll see AB itself, so it is 10, 20, 30. So because by default the values are separated by a comma in the list, but you can say that separated by a hyphen, and then you can define here that you want to separate the values by hyphen. Then only the Python will separate it by a hyphen. So the same goes for the tuple command. So if you want a tuple as an input, then same goes for tuple as well. In place of list, you have to write tuple. That's when the Python will understand that you are entering a tuple as an input. So these were some basic input output stuff. Uh, to take multiple, how to take multiple values as input. Um, uh, and one thing, yeah, so we'll talk about what the map command is doing tomorrow. Tomorrow functions, when we'll talk about functions, we'll talk about map commands. And so yeah, this thing you understood by now. Int, you want you want input as an integer, and then input, the input statement, input enter some numbers. If you want some floating, you don't want integers as input. Now you want float characters as input. Float, you want floating values as input. So in place of int, you will type float, and then if I'll run this, okay. So shift, you should hold shift and press enter, then it will run. Like we discussed in the start, 2.0, comma 3.0, comma 10.0. Okay. Now if I'll enter, now if I'll say A, you can see this is 2.0, 3.0, 10.0, and you can also see that the brackets are round here because we entered tuple. And in here in AB, as we entered list as an input, the brackets are square. So square bracket is for list, a round bracket is for tuple. Okay. So yeah. So we'll talk about output as we have some time left. 15 minutes we have left. We'll talk about what we'll do is we'll talk about some part of the output, and then we'll go ahead and see how to install Anaconda, and then we'll stop. Okay. So up till now we talked about how to take input from the user, how to take multiple integers as input as well, in type of a list or in type of a tuple. Okay. So how to output something to the user. For example, you want to print something onto the screen, then how to do that? Okay, so the command is really simple. If you want to print something, the command is print and then square brackets. And then if you want to print integer, and then uh, if you want to print a string, then you will have your quotes like we discussed. Then you'll say hello. Okay, and then when you'll enter that, you'll see hello, hello came in. So that's how you will print an string or a character. You can have a single character as well here, a, and it will print a. Now what if you want to print a variable, the value of a variable? So that, up till now what we were doing is we were just typing a, and then if I'll enter, so the value of the variable was coming in. So this is not the best practice, because this is because the Anaconda IDE is set up that way that if you press a simple A, then the values will be printed. But when you are working with Python, the programming language itself, not the Anaconda IDE, if you're not in the environment of Anaconda IDE, then if you press A, then nothing will be printed, and it will throw an error saying what do you want to do with A. So Python will say basically that I'm not getting what are you saying to me. So then the then it will throw an error. So this is best case practice. So what if you want to print something, you should do the you should have the command print, and then in square brackets you should pass a, and then if you will print, then it will also print this thing. And if you want to print a tuple, sorry, a list, then the name of the identifier for the list, and then you will have your list printed. And a simple print, what this will do is it will print nothing. If you pass, it will not pass anything, it will not print anything. It will print a new line, uh, a simple blank line. Okay. So yeah. So what if you wanted to print character, basically string, and correspond at the corresponding to the string, you want to print a value. For example, you want to print your uh, your salary is, and then you have to print a value. Now the value is not hard coded because you didn't have the value at hand now. So value is in a variable named eSal. Like we took the eSal input at here eSal. We took my salary as an input. Now I have to print the eSal variable, not the value. Means yeah, eSal value, but not the hard coded value. I want to print the value from a variable. How I can do that? So I have my string over here. Your salary is, and then what I'll do is I'll press a comma, and then I'll uh, type the name of the variable. Then when I'll do that, if I'll enter this, your value is 1.0. So 1.0 we entered above my salary. Uh, we entered 1, and it's a floating data type. That's why 1.0, and so it's printing 1.0. So that's how you can print a string corresponding to the string. You can print a variable, value of a variable. Likewise, you can print a list as well. So for example, you have to pass the identifier list, name of the identifier, then your salary is 10, 20, 30. So now you can see why identifiers are important. Why are we using identifiers in Python? And yeah, the same goes for tuple as well, comma your tuple. And after this comma, we can also have a new string, for example that, let's say, then you can see this thing printed, and then after that thing also you can have a variable, let's say a. So this can continue forever. This can continue, this can go on. Your salary is ab, then string, then your variable name, then also string, then variable. This can, we can do this number of times if you want to print a whole big line onto the screen. So yeah, so this was some command about how to print something or how to output something to the onto the screen. We talked about multiple variable arguments as well. So if you want to print, you can pass in variable arguments or variables, multiple variables, and then it will print multiple variables. And this part we'll talk about, we'll discuss this small bit tomorrow. This separator thing, it's not a big thing, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. And we'll go ahead and start with Python flow control. Now flow control is very interesting topic because we are specifying some conditions here. Condition means if a is greater than b, then do this thing, else do this thing. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And so this is where we'll stop for now. We talked about a bit of outputs in Python, and then we'll talk about we'll pick up from this separator thing, and then we'll go ahead. So so okay, so now what we'll do is we'll see how you can install Anaconda. Okay. Yeah, so for Anaconda, if you didn't got the link, you can have you can search here as well, Anaconda Python on in the Google, and you can see individual edition. You can click here, and here your data science toolkit, and then if you press the download button, it will take you to the installers, and then you can check if it's a 64-bit or 32-bit to check whether your system has a 64-bit or a 32-bit installer. what you have to do is you can go into the settings, and then in system, and then here in system you can go into about, and then in about you'll see what bit of operating system you are using. For example, my is 64-bit, so I'll go ahead and download and click on 64-bit installer. So it's a big file, so this thing will be downloaded, and it will be in your downloads folder. You can see here in downloads from Google Downloads as well, it will be here. Yeah, so what we have to do is, as mine is installed, so I cannot reinstall that. So what I'll do is I'll tell you the process how to reinstall. So I have downloaded that quite ago. So yeah, so so if you have downloaded it right now, sorry, if you have downloaded it and you have not installed that, then uh, this cut line on your screen will not show up, because as soon as it is installed, it downloaded the exe, which is the installer. So we can click on this exe, and then in the basic setup will be that it will show you, it will, like, you have to click next, 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 and allow license and agreements, like how you install some basic softwares, and then you have to click next, next, and then finish, and then it will start installing. It will take a long time to install. And then after you have installed, so how you can check that you have installed it successfully, you can go in search and you can type ANA Anaconda prompt. This thing will come. Or we are using the Jupyter notebook, so you have to type JUPY Jupyter Anaconda, and then if you'll enter this, it will this black screen will come, and then it's saying me that port is already open, because I have already opened, and then you can have this home page of the Jupyter notebook. And then if you want to start some coding, you can go in here, new, and then Python 3, and then you have your Jupyter instance at your screen, and then you can start coding in this thing. Yeah, so if you have some errors while if your Anaconda is throwing some errors, it is because of uh, it is because of it was not installed successfully, or it was not installed correctly. That's why the error is showing. So what you have to do is do one thing, just reinstall that thing, delete that, or you have uninstall option from here. For example, uninstall, add or remove programs. You can go here, and then you can search for the program, search this list. So you can search uh, Anaconda. So here the Anaconda will come, and then you have to click it and uninstall it. And then after uninstalling, you don't have to download the software again, because that will be available in your downloads folder. So if you'll go in your downloads folder, it will be available with you. Anaconda, you can search for Anaconda. So documents, it's not download. That's why it's not showing up. You don't have to. I'm showing you. You don't have to download the whole thing, 450 MB thing. It will be here, as you can see. Anaconda 3, this package will be here. Then just double click it, and then it will start your reinstalling it, and then hopefully the error that you are facing will go away. Okay, so if you have any question, we have some time left up till 9 p.m. If you have any question, you can ask, and then we can stop at 9 p.m. 853. I closed the black window, CMD type. That's why the error. Okay, yeah. So you don't have to close the black thing, because it will be, it is an Anaconda instance. You don't have to close this thing. So if you are after you have done your coding and all, then you can type Control C, and it will close your text window. Then after that you can close. But before that you don't have to. Um, um, Okay, thanks. Okay, can we get the okay? Sure, so it is real. Okay. You have any question? You don't understand anything? Then you can ask, and then you can tell. Can you tell us the difference between Jupyter and Anaconda? So you can see that Jupyter is a software which consists of that black CMD type thing as well, which is a like it's a software which have a Jupyter instance. The Anaconda prompt itself, you'll understand. So I'll tell you. So Anaconda prompt is basically a panel. For example, here I'll show you. If you'll open this, then we can see it has opened, and then you can type some commands here. So any command that is related to package installation, we'll talk about package installation later, but the command is pip install. If you want to install a package in Python, we'll talk about what our packages are. But if you want to install some packages, then pip install and then package name. What the name of the package that you want to install, and if you'll press enter, it will run like then you'll see that you're a hacker now. You're not a hacker. It will run and then it will install the package. Okay. So and yeah, also what is Jupyter? Jupyter is like the instance, the Python instance where you IDE basically where you can type your Python programs and you can run these Python programs. So that's what Jupyter is for. And yeah, so basically this is the difference between a Jupyter and a Anaconda. And so if you have any more doubts, I'm checking for the questions. If you have any questions.
हेलो
So,
मोहम्मद सर।
yeah,
सर मैंने आपको राइट दे दिया क्वेश्चन का, आप क्वेश्चन देख सकते हैं सर।
हाँ हाँ देख रहा हूँ, क्वेश्चन ही देख रहा हूँ। थैंक्स। Request to share file for today. Okay. Okay, so if you want the file, I'll share the file. How I'll share the file? If you are familiar with GitHub, then what I'll do is I'll upload the file on GitHub and then you can download it from there. Yeah, so I'll share the file. Don't worry. What I'll do is I'll see some question, and then if nothing, if there is no question, then I'll upload the file and share the link with you right now. Where did you type new? I didn't type new. Where did I type new? I didn't type new. So can you elaborate on the question? Then yeah. So okay. So can you show new again? Okay. So I didn't type new. New was here. This new just after the upload. This is the instance that you have opened. Then you can press new and then Python 3, and then here it will be your Anaconda Jupyter instance where you can run your codes. Okay. So some more questions. It, can we raise doubts by talking rather than chatting only? Yeah, I think if you have the right to unmute yourself, then you can raise the doubt by talking also. How to make form with selective inputs using Python. So yeah, so we talked about how to make a form with selective inputs, right? So we talked about how to take e number, salary, name. all the information, and then you have all your information in your variable. Then to make form, basically it's a really big process, will go slow by, so that will not be covered obviously in this workshop, because to make a form then you should know Django framework, and like it's a big thing that you should understand. To make a form is not easy. So like what you can do is you can up till now what you can do is you can enter, you can ask user for information, and then you can print those information one by one. That will be like a form kind of thing. But to make forms, that's like a really big topic in itself. It will also take 3 days. So we can make forms in Python. Okay, so next more questions we have. I'll share the file. Okay, so okay, it is paying, asking pay USD 14. So you don't have to pay. Anaconda is a free software. You don't have to pay. Uh, like I showed you the link, Anaconda Python. If you type Anaconda Python, then you can go. So it might happen that you have clicked this main page link. That's why it is coming. And if you then you are saying get started, and then the Anaconda is asking you for some money. But you can go at the very bottom of the page, and you can see products, and you can go individual edition. So you must be downloading the commercial edition. That's why it's asking you for money. Then you can go into individual edition. You have to check, and you can click download, and then you can download the instance for free. Okay, so yeah, I'll share the file with you today. What I'll do is I'll upload it on GitHub, and then so GitHub downloading is really very simple. You just have to I'll share the link with you. Then you have to click that link, and then the green box will appear to download the file. Then you can download it from there. So let's name this as workshop. So yes, it's available. I'll create a repository. I'll upload an existing file. So it's in download. Yeah, workshop, and this is the IP value file. So it's uploading. Commit changes. Yeah, so it's there now. I'll share the link in the chat box. Yeah. So I shared the link with you. Uh, so if you'll press this link, then you can go to, then you'll basically come here in my repository, and then instead of code, it will show download. You can download a zip as well, then you can extract it later, or so you can see it downloaded. If I'll open this, then you can basically extract that. Just extract to whatever folder you want, you can extract. And then after extracting, means you have the ip.ipy.mv file in your machine. Then how you can open that? You can go, yeah, so you can here, for example, so I have that in my downloads folder. It will be in your download folder if you directly downloaded it. Then you can go here in your downloads. You can click here, and then you can search. I've really much more than one IP1B file, but you will have one IP1B file. So you can search for Python for DS workshop, and then you can click this, and then it will open. So all of the things that we'll be covering for the 3 days will be here. It will take some time at the first, or it's not opening because I have already have an opened instance. That's why I think it's not opening. Yeah, so it opened. Okay, so what this is all the thing that we are covering that is now available with you. Yeah, so this is how you can download the file. Um, is Python preferred to Power BI for data analytics? So Python is a free software. That's why it's mostly preferred. Power BI is you cannot use commercially. So if you are working in a company and you are writing some codes for the company, so then you can visualize the data freely using Python. But if you compare it with Power BI, then you should download. For example, for a commercial edition, you have to pay Power BI some money. Then only you can work with Power BI in commercially. So that's why Python is preferred. Also, Python is preferred because you are writing some codes, you are building some data science models, and then you can quickly analyze the data from within your Jupyter instance itself. You don't have to open Power BI, then import the file, and then do the visualization stuff. We'll see how to visualize the data in Python. Some more questions if you have. Um, Okay, so I think the time is up now. Will how can we see your shared file in our Jupyter notebook? So I showed you how can you see. It will be in your downloads folder, or you have to check what folder the file is in, and then you can go and search. Okay, it is visible now, no problem. So yeah, so for other guys, if you cannot see, you have to see what folder the file is in, and then you can go ahead and open that file. Oh, I have downloaded the Anaconda. How do I reach? Um, I have downloaded Anaconda. How do I reach the screen we are using? Okay, so yeah, so you have to type Jupyter in your search bar, and then you can reach the screen. Okay, I have to okay. Where did we go? Slowly, show slowly. Okay, how to start new commands? How to start new commands? Break. Yeah. So the question is how to start new commands. Yeah, so I showed you how to start new instance. Here you can go in your home, then you can click on new and then Python 3, and then your new instance will be ready, and then you can type new commands to you, if that's what you are asking. Uh, okay, so I think no new question. To download your file, do I need a GitHub account? No, I think no, you don't have to have a GitHub account. If it asks you for the GitHub account as well, it's really simple to create a GitHub account. It's like creating a Facebook account. It will not ask you for money. Let's see incognito I'm using because yeah. So yeah, no, you don't need any GitHub account. Here you can see I haven't signed in or signed up. So you can go ahead and you can basically download the zip file, and then you can extract the IPYNB file on your computer. So you don't need a GitHub account. That's it. I think I don't have any. I don't see any download flag. Can you show download? Um, yeah, I can show you download. It's simple. Okay, I'll show you. If you click on the link, this page will appear, and then you can uh, basically go in this. No, you don't have to go in this back. So this page will appear, workshop, the link, and then you can go in this green button, code, and then at the bottom you can see download zip, and then you'll see download zip. You can have this zip folder, and if you'll open the zip folder, you have to go here, workshop main, this folder, and then this IPYNB file, and then you can choose extract to any file, anything you want. For example, I'll choose desktop and press OK. So now it's extracted to my desktop. Okay, Now, if you see, this file is there in my desktop. Now, if I want to open that, I'll go to from here I'll go to desktop and then open the file that I showed you. Okay, got it. Okay, once again, yeah. So no new questions. Uh, so I have shared you the file, so you can play around with the file and uh, don't play around with the part that we discussed. I request that you don't move forward and go ahead and play around with the part that we didn't discuss, which is output and flow control and other stuff. So we'll see step by step, or else you'll be confused. So yes, you can go ahead and you can have what we want to. So you can play around with the part that we discussed. Okay, guys. So I think the time is up. So 9:11. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Bye. Thank you for attending the session.